Hello and welcome back to our Sustainable Business event. Now we are bringing out 3 brand new people. We have Christina Friborg, Executive Vice President, Head of Sustainability at SSAB. Annika Ramskold, Vice President, Corporate Sustainability, Vattenfall. Pia Lindstrom, Senior Vice President, Sustainability, LKAB. Good morning, afternoon. Hello, ladies. Thank you so much for joining us. Look, we have another power dream team of blondes saving the world. Okay, so welcome everyone. You are all frequent speakers at shows like ours and also worldwide. What is it within sustainability that inspires you? Maybe from a more personal level than professional. And maybe we can start with you.
Personally, I think to work with sustainability is really securing that we have a future for the kids and the future for the future generations. And I think sustainability is all about future-proofing your business, future-proofing for all of us, our existence. So I think the key is that we can make a difference every day in everything that we do.
Absolutely. What do you think?
I agree with Annika a lot that it's throughout my whole career I've been working for some kind of better world. But the more I work in the business sector, because I used to work in diplomacy and development aid before, and the more I work in the business, the more the more I become convinced that and fascinated by the way business can actually make a difference if done in the right way. So the more engaged I get in sustainability, the more driven I get by business, which is an interesting development for someone like me.
Yes. And what about you, Pia? How does this affect you personally?
I would say it's, I think if you work with these kind of issues, it's more like a passion. It's part of how you act and feel and the values you carry through life. So if you bring that into your professional business, you make a difference for real. And also if you work with industry, you really make a change every day.
So, Annika, Vattenfall has changed its company sustainability slogan or purpose just recently. Why was this important and why was it needed?
I mean, our earlier purpose was to enable a fossil-free living within a generation. And that was something that we installed now 6-7 years back. And of course, we cannot continue to talk about within one generation because that window is closing all the time. And that in itself also signaled a lot around the sort of having the climate at focus. But for us, we take the full sustainability agenda, meaning also the social aspects. And therefore, we wanted to broaden it. And now it's about fossil freedom, where we really want to enable entire society and all of us to be able to both produce, move, and live fossil-free. And with the extra dimension, sort of, it has to be done in a just way. And we have to look at our full value chain. So we felt that it was appropriate to talk about to be fossil-free a number of years back, but now we really need to broaden it. And also, we were quite early among the energy companies to start pushing for this, but now, luckily, I would say a lot of other companies are on that journey, and that means that we need to continue to push. And it's about, like we already talked about, it's about pushing the boundaries and really making a difference every day, and that means that you can always do things quicker, better, more efficient, and that's why we wanted to upgrade the purpose.
Fantastic. Now, this question is for all 3 of you, but we can start with you, Annika. What does it take to integrate sustainability into a traditional business?
I mean, there are many things that you need to do, but I think what lies at the heart is that you need to secure that the board and your executive management really believe that it has to be at the core and that sustainability is really about future-proofing your company. And that, I think, is maybe the most important piece. You need to start in that end, because if you do sustainability as something at the side, that is not going to future-proof your business. So I think that is maybe the one key. So, and then I leave the other examples to my colleagues here.
Future-proofing has been something we've talked a lot about today, and that was a great slogan for that. But what do you think, Christina?
Annika is completely right. If you want to have a prosperous and profitable business in 10 years' time, you have to become more sustainable, and you have to become more or less fossil-free. And somehow we discuss the climate issue, which is the fossil freedom, a lot, because that's the main topic right now. But like you said, Annika, we have to deal with the rest also. We cannot, go only fossil-free and then have a high safety rate or violate human rights or whatever it may be. We have to take all of that into account and then transform our entire company. So my job is not necessarily, SSAB is transforming it, the whole company is transforming it. We're really on a transformation journey right now. And my job is not right now, everybody is the chief sustainability officer in my company, which means that I have to I have to hold back a little bit in some aspects, but I also have to make sure that the whole agenda comes along on this journey. So it's not only focused on just the climate issue. We have the corruption issue. We have all these aspects that we also need to take care of, and that's my job, to make sure that it's all held together, and then also that we see the risks, but also the great opportunities that this gives us.
Yes.
And also the whole geopolitical aspects and all of that. So we have a pretty broad portfolio.
Pia, how do you feel about integrating sustainability to a traditional business?
Yeah, you said the best parts.
Sorry.
Okay, well, we can move.
No, but it is to have a strategic goals, to have it in the business, not a separate thing, to make sure that you can handle business operational excellence, and also be able to focus on what's important for real. So you need to have basic business sustainability, but you also need to have a holistic approach, what is really important, and manage that also, and implement it the whole way. But I don't think it's differ if it's a traditional industry or not. It's the kind of industry you're in. That is the key factor that different between different companies.
And to add, I think what you're also alluding towards is that we have to be able to show how it's actually adding value to the business. And that is an element, because if it is something that is at the side, even if it's part of the strategy, if you cannot connect it to the actual future-proofing of getting the revenues that you also need, and that you're adding value both to the company as well as to the stakeholders, then it's not going to be the right business for the future. So this value creation piece is extremely important.
So how do you feel that your companies are enabling transformation in other areas of your business, not just climate?
Well, we can give one example that we work on together, actually. Our three companies are the three founding companies of this hybrid project, which is the fossil-free steel. So Vattenfall, LKAB, and SSAB, we do this together. And so one common issue that we discuss is the minorities issues and the indigenous peoples, for example, which is a social issue and a human rights issue. So how do we approach the indigenous people that we have in the northern part of Sweden, and how do we approach making sure that their rights are respected and so on? That's another issue next to the climate one that we deal with together.
Yeah, and also if you broaden it, it's stakeholder engagement in what we do, and that is a long-term issue. And I would also add in biodiversity. It's a very crucial sustainability topic. If you need access to land, you need to have a strategic way of working with biodiversity.
And also to add, I think also the supply chain piece. I mean, we need to secure not only that we get the fossil-free materials, etc., into it, but that everything that we need, for instance, a lot of wind towers and electricity network, meaning that is produced somewhere. And then we need to secure that is produced in a responsible way, so that that they have living wages, that it's sound health and safety sort of practices in the production sites where these things are made, and also how it's transported. So I mean, all of those things you need to take into
Ethics
account.
also is a big part of it and works together.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
What are the main factors to consider when transforming your company towards sustainable practices? Upscaling roles, responsibilities, business transformation, leadership. What are the most important skills needed to succeed in sustainability? Maybe we can start with you, Christina.
That was 10 questions in one.
It was 10 questions in one. Let's simplify it. I mean, what's the special sauce?
Let's start digging, and then my two excellent colleagues will you'll probably say the smartest things, but I'll start. So for us, we've said much of it already, that you have to ensure that the business is with you. There's a lot of anchoring, there's a lot of explanation, there's a lot of dialogue that has to take place internally on different topics. But I think what's crucial for all our three companies is really that the leadership from the board and down has set an ambition, and they have set the direction, and we have to follow that. And if that direction is clear enough and concrete enough, the company will come with you. They will follow. And at least I feel within our company that there's this pride that we have in the company for what we're actually trying to achieve. And the more we tell the story about what we're actually doing, and now that the fossil-free steel is actually out on the market now. Yesterday I was in Lund, and we inaugurated this building where the first facade was made in fossil-free steel, first ever in the world. And this brings pride to our colleagues and the whole value chain, really, because this is us. We've done this together, and this I think the feeling that we can communicate of togetherness, of achievement and so on, that is really, really important. So a lot of transparency and storytelling in that sense. But then I think you mentioned the word skills, and this is really an important issue that I think we all have to deal with. How do we find the right competence going forward? And how do we actually manage to recruit them to somewhere where there's a lack of competence, where there's a lack of people to hire. So, and also the just transition for the companies that for the employees that we already have, and that may work in processes that we will actually take out. We will have to take care of them, make sure that they are reskilled, and provide them with the right education and training so that they can continue working with the company, and we can retain them, because they are really important, and they have important skills that we will need also in the future, just that we have to tweak that competence a little bit.
Yeah, we've been hearing a lot about company culture today, and it seems like that togetherness is also something that's very important to bringing sustainability forward. But over to Pia, I mean, what do you think is the secret sauce, to making this all happen?
Very easy question. But I think you said quite the most. It depends on, but of course you need to have a clear strategy, what you want to achieve, and you need to keep that strategy, and you need to be communicating the strategy. So that is the key factor. But also, as I said, management of interests. It's also that you also listen and have cooperation with those stakeholders. I think is very, very important. And also, what you call it change management. I think that is a skill that we need to have to be able to transform the business and the individuals.
Absolutely. Communication is key, right?
And I want to build on the collaboration as well as innovation, because I think the skills that will be needed, it's both about being able to collaborate with external actors and local communities, but very much it's also about collaborating internally. It is to have risk working together with the business, with sustainability, with finance. All of that needs to come together. So the skills, earlier it was easy, you came in as a specialist and it was fine to work in your own silos. Those days are gone because we don't do things quick enough unless we really and crowdsource knowledge as well as investment money. So the collaboration is extremely important. And then on the innovation piece, I think we need to have much more of an entrepreneurship in the companies, people that dare to come up with ideas, and also that we then allow these ideas to really flourish and do something with it. Because again, if we do business as usual, we're not going to change at the speed that is needed. So the innovation piece is extremely important.
Yeah. And use that in problem solving. Yeah. And there you have the diversity and in knowledge in a room to solve problem in an innovative way. Then you change things. So is management of change.
There's one aspect actually that we rarely talk about that I would like to raise, and that's the courage to raise problems, but also conflict of interests. I personally say put the fish on the table, because otherwise it rots under it. And so. But it's true. I mean, if you don't deal with an issue that's difficult and you just push it forward, the issue will just become bigger. So you have to sit with a little bit of courage also. I'm not necessarily the most comfortable or the most, how should I say, I'm not very comfortable to have in rooms all the time, because that's my job, to lift issues that are conflicting, problematic, we have to deal with it and so on. But it's better to deal with it in the beginning than sort of push it forward, and then you have
bigger
a potential
problem later.
Much bigger problem. Yeah.
And on the subject of change, I can lead this towards you, and of course it's open for everyone as well. So how is it best to lead change, both internally and create value to other stakeholders in your ecosystem?
I think then we come back to what Christina talked about. If you want to lead change, you need to be very specific about where we're going, and leave the freedom to those that are in the team with their knowledge to decide how to go there and propose the way forward. So it's about showing very clear the direction, and then let people use their skills and innovative capabilities to bring you to that point and propose which is the best way forward. I think that's most likely the absolute key way.
Do you have anything, ladies? Should I move on?
I mean, you can drive change management in many different ways, but I think to be clear and concrete in order, and also you said that earlier, Annika, and also be able to have a dialogue with people and talk to people and anchor. I mean, we talk all day long, really. That's something that we really do. Chit chat, chat, chat. You do it by the coffee machine, you do it in meetings, you do it over Teams, you do it in the staircase, you do it everywhere. And it's a way of sometimes it's a way of convincing also. We have to convince people a little bit sometimes. But it's a way of also showing where we're going by walking the talk, honestly. I mean, if we don't walk the talk, then nobody else is going to follow either. So there's a little bit of leadership responsibility in that sense also.
And also be a little bit brave.
But yeah, exactly. You have to be courageous.
Courage.
A little
That
bit
was
brave.
a great thing to bring up. But let's talk about commercializing and sustainable offering. So how does one sell the full value to end customers, excuse me.
Again, we come back to it's about telling the true value that lies in there. And I think all of us, together with sort of our customers, we need to give proper information, be very transparent about the feasibilities that the product has, and point at all the sustainability elements that are there, whether it's a carbon footprint or that it's certified and you know that the working conditions are good or whatever. So it's about pointing that. And I think now with a lot of the new legislation, a lot of companies need to be able to say, well, we are asking for these things. We know that whatever we buy is done in a sustainable way, and be able to trust that. So the more we can be transparent about it, and then also, I usually say it's about offering a broad variety of options for the customer so they have something to choose between, and then tell the sort of feasibilities of all of those. And then it's about nudging them to take the right type of decision.
Well, and guiding customers to change perceptions is really not easy. I mean, do you have any thoughts or advice on how to help that change?
We come back to everyone needs to be informed. So it's about, in an easy way, sort of package what are the, if we take the fossil-free steel, there it's about telling what is the carbon footprint, where has it been produced, what are the different benefits that comes around with it, also talking about it, where it's been produced, and even talk about how are the workers doing that have been part of producing that. All of those things, and be transparent about what comes with that product.
Anything to add?
I think there's a difference in what customers you have. Most, or the three of our companies have business to business, business basically. Whereas if you have consumer business, or if you have a business to consumer business, it's a little bit different in the nudging part and so on. Whereas most of our companies, I have to say, the larger OEMs, they are very interested in becoming having the reduced carbon footprints also. So we're normally meeting their requests and their requirements and so on. But then also showing, like you said, showing off, but also maybe just communicating that clean is cool, basically. I mean, it's cool to be sustainable nowadays. And honestly, in our company, the sustainable offering coordination lies with me. It doesn't lie with the business. We are the ones coordinating it. So we nudge our divisions. We nudge and influence the whole organization. And believe me, right now, there's not a problem in pushing them. They run very fast forward right now because the customers are asking for it.
Yeah.
But there, I think we are a little bit different because we have a lot of end consumers as well, and that's where I'm talking about the nudging piece. There you need to do a lot of nudging and be transparent too.
So there's a difference, basically.
But we have both.
And if we look at the mines, for example, we need also to show the mines more. We need people need to know what a mine in Sweden is, because there's some thoughts about what it is today and what it's not. So
it's not very dark and dirty anymore.
But we can't really move the mine to Stockholm to show it. So we need to get people to see how we operate. So that is one way of building trust, show what we are, how we're working. But I think the full value is not there yet. In 10, 15, 20 years from now, what will carbon dioxide cost?
Now, I have to piggyback off that. That is such a great ending question for all three of us, is talking about net zero. I mean, can you glimpse into the future and see into the crystal ball? And what kind of society are we going to be living in 2040, 20 years from now? Where will we be? Dun, dun, dun.
Well, what great. I mean, I wish I had this crystal ball, then I would be a magician. But I think if we start in one end, when it comes to transport, we are already on the way. So I think we will change a bit of the travel pattern that we have. Thanks to digitalization, we're able to not necessarily travel every time. In events like this, I very often appear rather on the screen than be physically here, so you don't need to travel that much. But when you do, I mean, we will have electric airplanes, or they will go by hydrogen. We will most likely have a lot of more self-driving cars and other things that are fully electric, and it's easier to move around. But then hopefully also I'm thinking more on a global scale. I'm really hoping that the SDGs, that we've come a bit further so that we somehow are tackling the poverty piece and have more decent working conditions in other parts of the world. This is where it becomes difficult, though.
Now, we're quickly wrapping up this segment. I'm so sorry we're short on time, but I'd love to hear your short answers into the crystal ball. What do you see in 20 years?
I think, well, in 15, 20 years, if we can have that perspective rather than the 2050, I think companies that do not transform may not survive. And this is also something that we don't discuss very much, the stranded asset issue. There will be particularly fossil-heavy companies might not survive, so they will become stranded assets. And this is important for the companies, but it's also important for investors and risk takers and so on. So when we do our analysis of the company corporate strategy going forward, but also by the investment strategy and so forth, we have to keep this in mind, that will this company survive if it's fossil-heavy? If there's a heavy carbon footprint, it may not survive.
Quick
and of course, the circularity, I would add on that the world, we talk about the climate and the social aspects, but also the circularity. We need to make less footprint on this earth also. And sustainability will be part of every business, because the people that are buying things are going to understand this. So everything is going to be labeled.
Thank you all so much for being here, and thank you for tolerating me. I hope you have a wonderful time. Thank you again for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.